And I had my first sale. I set open house. This is what I see even now, agents that are struggling. I'm like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I was set open house Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday while I was doing my business on my computer. And I'm like, I had my first sale within my first, I think within very short time, I had a $17,000 commission, and it saved my life, saved my house, saved everything.
Welcome to the No Excuse Pro podcast, your weekly dose of motivation and actionable advice. If you're a realtor, financial planner, business owner, or anyone who's tired of making excuses and ready to take your success to the next level, you've come to the right place. Join your host, Kevin Brierton, each week as he chats with industry leaders who are going beyond the excuses to achieve their goals. So no excuses accepted. Let's get started.
Hey, Wendy. Hey, thanks so much for jumping on the No Excuse Pro podcast. Started this podcast because I felt like I needed to give back to the community, both real estate and lending, and help people kind of break through the excuses. I found that our business could be a little bit of up and down, and I got really passionate about really just leaning in to try to help people, whether it's business owners, but also real estate and financial advisors and other lenders. But I wanted to bring you on because you've been a top realtor in the Arizona market, Scottsdale, Phoenix market for a long time. You do an awesome job. And I want to know a little bit about you and what kept you motivated in the real estate world. What's gotten you into real estate and what has kept you motivated to keep passionately helping clients?
That's a great question. I have actually two answers on that. When I had another, I was in marketing before, back in the older days, and I would do kind of blurred, but I would do volume promotional products, pens, mugs, hats for companies.
Oh, yeah.
I was always a worker. I just, before it was like cool and okay and accepted to work out of your home, when I had my first child, I was like, I'm not going back to an office. So somehow I stumbled into promotional products, and it was a great business for a long time. And then 2008 hit. I was doing that business for a long time, and I had 3 children at this point, and I was losing my home. And over the years, people had said, you should be a realtor. I go, I know. And I just wasn't in that right mind space. And my seat of night, like the marketing, that's the first thing people start out is advertising and marketing. So I was like, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to work my full-time job, and I'm going to go to school, and I'm getting my license, because people would say, and I'm like, I know. I had no idea how it was going to change my life in the way that it did. It's funny how nature puts you in a direction. I had a foreclosure notice, and in my home, I make the income. My husband has the benefits. So a lot of that was on my shoulders. And I'm just a grinder. I'm a mover and a shaker. I'm a grinder no matter what I do. So went to school and got out of school, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, which is really common today. And I had my first sale. I set open house. This is what I see even now, agents that are struggling. I'm like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I was set open house Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday while I was doing my business on my computer. And I'm like, I had my first sale within my first, I think within very short time, I had a $17,000 commission, and it saved my life, saved my house, saved everything.
That's awesome. Something I heard was that you just did it. Like, some people, even when they're buying a house, I talk to them about, can you afford this payment? And they're like, well, I'm not really sure. I'm like, well, how bad do you want the house? Well, I'm like, are you working a second job? I'll tell you a story. When I bought my house, and in 2008, when market kind of slowed down, I I was serving tables and then doing loans during the day, right? You do what it takes. And it's amazing to me that that's not the mindset for a lot of people. A lot of people just think, well, I can't do that, and it's like, you could, So I think that's awesome. And so what's kept you in the game this long? I mean, it's been 20 years, almost, not quite 20 years in the business. And what kept you going?
I don't know. I mean, it's just been a tidal wave, and the wave has kept going. No matter what the market, I stay. I do well. I'm very grateful, and I keep a lot of. Some people keep all their eggs in one basket. I've a lot of spokes in my wheel that keep business rolling in. I mean, there's moments where I'm like, I'm going to get a job, but they're short lasting, and I've got a great news.
Would you agree though? Like if you work a job like real estate, if you work it like a job and really work it like a job, you don't have to worry about it, right? You just do it like a job, not like a secondary, like I'll get to it when I get to it. I'm going to go to the pool. I'm going to take it. You work it as a job. That's probably actually helped you be consistent, right?
Yes. My motto is, if I'm not busy, I get my butt busy. And if I'm not busy and if I have a little too much head, I'm going to, all right, go as that bot, get those videos out. And I tend to, if I have an empty space, I fill it. So that's what I think is just me. And it is for me. Like I do run a mastermind every month called Mind and Grind. And go around the room and I say, hey guys, are you where you want to be this time of year? And if their hand goes up and I go, okay, we give them options. And I go, in 3 months, that hand better not be up, because it's ultimately like, this is on you. This is your bakery. You got to open your doors and you got to bring customers in every single day. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. And I'll talk a little bit about a strategy that's working for us really well right now. We can kind of share some ideas really quick too. But what are you seeing in this market right now? And we're sitting here July 2025 as we're recording this. What are you seeing in the Scottsdale and Phoenix market, greater Phoenix area right now as a realtor?
I see no change. Going back to that wheel of all the different ways that I'm seeing how people are consuming real estate information. And my client, I keep my head down and I don't watch the news, y'all. Don't watch the news. I'm having a great year.
I'm so glad you said that, because I'm a big follower of 4 Hour Week, Tim Ferriss. And one of the things he talks about, I read this 10 years ago, I listened to it, and I re-listen to his book all the time. He talks about information light diet. And my wife sometimes will watch the news or see social media, and I'll turn to her, and anything major she tells me about. And I obviously I'll get the big stuff through whatever channel, right? But I'm so glad you said, why is that something that's important in your success?
This is a little too abrasive an answer. I don't know what to trust anymore on what I'm looking at, because I just know that my boots on the ground are full and busy. So here's my clients giving information. I'm ready. I'm armed and dangerous with the requirement to no, and here's why it's not like that, right? So it's no big panel. Trying to look at what's happening and what people are here.
Yeah.
What's happening. And because I'm not a salesperson in any way, shape, or form. I'm here to help you buy a home and tell you like it is. And it's so great because we're getting information from their neighbor, your friend, or the news, which is around. And it's just combating that. But I don't know if that's a question.
No, that's great. And I think it's being a little bit selective on, you're still in the know about real estate, but you're focused on helping people rather than all the news about what's wrong. You're just like, all right, let's get to work. We got to solve problems. Something that, is important right now in 2025 is people need help more than ever. People have life problems, whether it's, unfortunately death, divorces, situational stuff, and any professionals that are not just connecting deeply with their clientele and really understanding what their situation is, how to help them, is missing the boat. Everybody's playing around with social media. I know we're recording a podcast right now.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, don't just play around on social media, engage with people. And that's what we're doing, really. I mean, that's kind of the point of this podcast, is engaging and solving problems. And I know we just solved the problem today for a client that I had, a past client, and then he met in an open house, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So tell me, what is it about, what's one strategy, and it might be open house, but what's one strategy that is working right now?
This is my strategy. My motto, and when I saw this market was going to have to shift, I was like, I'm going to go deep and not wide. I have no interest in working with strangers unless they're referred to me. I have no interest in the fast, quick, easy quote buck of online leads and lead generation. I'm just deep and intimate with the people that I know. And that has been a game changer. If I could drill one thing into any agent's brain, and I try and they fight me at it, but I'm like, work your sphere. The lead that I get is going to 20 other agents. And I'm disposable more now than ever. And I don't want to feel that. I want to feel like what happened with our current client. Like that happened to be very, very wonderful meeting. And I was very grateful, but I think they're actually advocates. Like they listen to me. And they've gone to every open house in the Valley. I know that. And so I think that deep, not wide is my motto for sure.
Yeah. Well, I saw you had an article on LinkedIn about like a mutual fit or screening clients, and like they're looking at like, hey, how did you have the connection? Like they're not just interviewing us, but we're interviewing them.
Yeah, that's come in time though, and that came from more recent experience of a client who the biggest power this year that I've learned, superpower, is power no. When you're in sales and you're service driven, and I'm a servant. I love it. And I love to problem solve and I love to help. But when it becomes sort of hurtful, this is my well, or if I can't get that person the dollar amount they want, I have to keep it saying, wow. So sorry, well, I think that's kind of where this is my you're saying no, like I don't need this business. Of course I need the business, right? But I don't need enough to go bald and feel bad and over promise. I would never under promise. I'll never under your promise. That's how it.
Yeah, I'm following. Yes. Yeah, boss.
It's really hard to point this market, I think. Wow.
Yeah, that's something that's important, and I think it's undervalued when we're chasing everybody, and then we actually, when we're chasing people that don't want to talk to us, that actually takes away from the people that do want to talk to us. It's actually doing a disservice to the people that are the real clients, and then we got to let go of the other people that, it's okay with them, because at the end of the day, like it's not a fit for a reason. And if it's not a fit for a reason, then I'll share a strategy that I have. So I have switched over my cell phone number to it. And I actually have had it set up for about a year like that, or a year and a half. And I've always been very self-conscious about it because I want to be Johnny on the spot, answer the phone right away, all this stuff, right? And I found my value is helping clients with strategy and planning and really getting deep with the situation and doing my proactive follow-ups, not just be Johnny on the spot of answering the call every single second, right? Because reality is that we all want to say, oh, I'll answer every call. Well, you can't. But if you're on a call, you can't answer another call. And then what if you get another call? And then you have 3 calls going on? Like, it's not true, So I switched over something to kind of sound bad, but filter out the people that don't want to talk to me. As if you call me, it says, thank you for calling the Kevin Brierton team. If you want to apply, press 1. If you're in process, press 2. It goes through. And again, I feel a little self-conscious about it, but the reason why I've done this is I've gone deep with people, and any of my clients, my partners that want to talk to me, they either shoot me a text, and just like we did this morning, hey, can we chat? Awesome. Or they get my extension. I have some awesome partners. They love it because they get me. And then if they need to talk to the team, they get the team, right? They have options. And so what I found is you got to give people solutions, and you got to build your business the way you want. And it's your business, not necessarily somebody else's business telling you how to run it. So going deep is really, really important. It's harder. I feel like sometimes it's harder when you're brand new. But you got to pivot to that as quick as possible. So talk a little bit about like new people, right? How do they go deep if they're trying to get their business up and going? What do you recommend?
I recommend a 3-prong approach. I recommend sit open houses. Your fish net will grab one. I don't know when, but your fish net will get one. It's a numbers game if you're really in business. two is that you get your database clean, not dirty. I've had both, if that makes sense to any of my realtor friends out there. I know when my database is dirty, and I call, Kevin Brierton, and he's got a new house. When I look up on the Ware County, I'm like, oh, so you keep your database real tight. Your data does not have to be gigantic, you guys. It can be, let's just say, for example, you only know 50 people that, let's just say you're new to the Valley, which I tend to know what people think they know more than they think. You should get 10% of your deals. That's 5 deals for the year. And if you're averaging, let's just say average price is $477 and the average commission is $11,000. That's an okay first year. If you really work that list to 50, and each of those people know 6 people, that if you work just 50 people alone, you've created a 300-person possibility of business. That's my.
So we call that the circle of cash flow.
Yes.
And it's brilliant because if you think about it, it's not just, it's their financial advisor, it's their insurance agent. It's all these external people that are around it. That I just got a financial advisor referral today doing a home equity line, right? And sometimes it's a rental. Sometimes those people need help with a rental. And, if it's in your sphere, I'd say go do that rental all day long. If it's some online rental that's looking for something that's, no, maybe not, right? But I love, so you have open houses, which is kind of like a office space to work while you're meeting people, and clean database, keep up with your data in the database. And it's probably easier more than now than ever. But is there anything that you're doing strategically to do that cleanup, or like on a regular basis, a systematic approach?
Yeah, I want to go back real quickly. The third item is, I don't know what works for you. Your item might be your church. Your item might be your door knocking. It might be cold calling. I'd rather poke my eyeball out than do that. So when your third item that works for you, but my database is, and this is, I hope this is a little too spicy, but I make love to my database, and I mean that like in a tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
I have customer events. I touch base with them. My goal is about 30 times a year, in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
I'm very deliver crumble cookies. Here's a gift. You're doing a great job. I'm sorry you're getting divorced. Here's a bottle of wine. I'm very much try to take that moment to truly be involved in the conversation. Truly, I'm present for it. Going back to your conversation, it's 3 calls come in. I'm like, I gotta go. And that makes me feel so bad for the people who trust me.
Yeah.
Conversation with me. So I love that you do that. So I do like what you're using. So for me, going back also to a client I had she changed agents after a year, and I was so upset. That was a tough one. Your friends, great clients. It opened up so much business for me that next 2 months. I was like, huh. So while my feelings are really hurt, so everything that I'm doing is that in my is the cornucopia that's just consistently giving to me, because I keep filling my pipeline up with things in different ways. So like, I'm just very intimate with my database. I try to be very intentional with that. And again, whether it's 25 or 50, mine happens to be in the 400s. Probably some people that shouldn't be on there, but
yeah. It's hard sometimes, because sometimes those people are the ones that you don't think about, and they're like, oh my gosh, I love Wendy, and they send you deals. You're like, oh, okay, cool. So sometimes you can't be overly selective on that and overthink the situation. And so that's kind of what I've learned. And it is okay to remove people and do a slow drip, maybe just take them off some of the stuff. And if they call, they call. And it is good to be selective. I love it. And I love that last point of, I don't know what works for you, because a lot of people are like, well, what works? Well, sometimes people are they don't like open houses. I know some teams that do great web lead stuff, and maybe that's the thing. I do believe, though, the high trust, high referral actually allows you more space in your life to deal with people that are they're valuing your time, that aren't going to just leave you because you didn't answer the phone at 7 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night, and that wears on you. I made a big change in my business about 10 years ago to really focus on a sphere of influence only referral business. It was a game changer for me. But right now, like I know we're coming up on time right now, and this is awesome. So tell me, I'd love to know, like on bad days, and you talked a little bit about your mastermind about, grinding piece of it too. But on your bad days, how do you keep yourself motivated on taking care of that, the main priority for the day?
If I do have a bad day, I'm Mary Poppins. I want to be self-proclaimed now. But when I do have a bad day, it's a day. And so what I've allowed myself to do is take the day and know that I need it to, just like working out, I got to have a rest day. And I just like, if I let myself just not even say the R word for the day. If I really am having a bad day, I just take a break, and I usually reset, refocus, recalibrate. And it's rare, but some days it's okay to take a step back. I think nature gives you these moments where it helps you come back a better agent, for sure.
So I've been reading The Essentialist by Greg McCowan. It's really good. He talks a lot about, obviously it's about being essential and working out what's essential in your life. Not a minimalist, but essentialist, and what's essential. But he talks a lot about rest. And there's a lot of studies on there that he goes over. And one of them is a study around violinists. And they did this report on violinists that were really good compared to the ones that weren't so good, and what was different about them and all these different things. And the one thing that stood out is the people that were really good violinists were like 8.5 hours a day in a 24-hour period. And they did a lot. There's a bunch of studies on sleep and how you have to have sleep in your schedule. You have to prioritize it. This week, I've been prioritizing it, and then I do slip off a little bit. And I think that rest is a big deal, especially if you're grinding. I'm somebody that I love working at. I enjoy the process. I enjoy helping people, but there's times when you get revved up too far. Gotta have that governor of going, you know what? I got to take a step back. I need a day off. I got to take off early today, because you're not doing anybody any good if you keep pushing too far. So I think that's a big takeaway. Like, I'm all about no excuses, but it's also no excuse about health. And I'm going to do a whole thing on, health and being no excuse on taking care of yourself too, because if you do really well for your clients, you do really well for your partners and all this stuff, but you're not taking care of yourself, what's the point? You have to be able to slow down and have rest. I recommend getting that sleep and rest. So I'm really glad you brought that up. That is definitely a secret, kind of secret sauce for you, because you could slow down and recognize that, and then you can go hit the road running.
Mindset matters. And I know we have to wrap up soon. I want to, if it's okay with you, share for people who maybe are not in our industries, like people that a husband passed away on the kitchen floor that week before I met her. I've got someone who's losing his family due to a meth addiction. I've got, people that are going through infidelity. I've got people that are losing their homes. And I'm super empathetic. It sounds kind of goofy, but I am an empath. So I come home, my chest just filled with emotion. So that rest is even more important. Whether you recognize it or not, you guys are absorbing your client's energy.
Yeah. So what you mentioned a few things there, and I think it's important. Like I had a call with a client yesterday, and it was like, it gets really surface level, right? Sometimes like, why are you buying a house? I want to buy a house and I want a payment. But like, why are you buying? What is it really getting? It's like, so she opened up to me and she goes, well, my dad died and I got an inheritance and I was really close with him, and he died young and had a cancer, came out of nowhere. He's 58. And I know I could just hear my dad's voice going, do something really, really smart with this money, and it was just like a really cool, like, connection time. My dad just is in remission for throat cancer. And so it's something that, we actually just did a really beautiful trip up in Sequoia National Forest this last week. And it was something when he was going through the cancer treatment to like push to try to, make sure, hey, we're going to go do that trip. We're going to go do that trip. And it's really cool to be able to do that trip. And that's the stuff that like makes this job meaning, and it's like the connection and understanding really why you're actually helping somebody. That's what keeps going, because then you hear that and you're like, all right, well, let's help them make a good decision, we really spent a lot of time, and we didn't even pull credit. It was really about the connection and why, and that helping even connect with her more. At the same time, some of those things can weigh on you too. So I understand where you're saying, what are some challenges right now that you're facing, and how are you trying to solve it?
I would say misinformation. On my social media, I feel right now realtors are being being battered. We are being battered on social media, and I don't know why. It's not like that on many other platforms or face to face, but there's this very unique mixture happening of, as you know, from last August on the lawsuit, there's a battery happening for us to sort of validate our value. And that's the first, I've never experienced that in my life. And we are taking, any way you slice it, and this is my business model, not all of you guys, but we are taking an income slice for a variety of reasons. And I think you'll know what I'm talking about. So we're having to validate our service right now. For the first time in 16 years, I've never had to, I really don't in my sphere, which is beautiful, but to the rest of the world where I am out there showing them how great I am. And then someone gives you a nice, hit to the knee with their bat saying, you're useless. Opening doors is all you do. We know different than that, but it still is a hurtful thing to hear after I just came from my client's house who cried for an hour and a half about X, right? So there's this weird mixture going on, and perhaps that's me having to stop doing that. But it's out there. That defense is out there, I think.
Well, I think it's something that is, and I found as this has kind of played out, is probably somewhat healthy for the industry, because they're obviously realtors are very valuable, and I have a million stories of like I wouldn't have been able to pull it off without somebody helping me do it. Right. We all have been in a customer service online with nobody there to be our advocate and our agent to help us through that process. And so we can go on that. That's a whole nother conversation. But I think it's good to proactively demonstrate why you do what you do, and in a systematic way. We do a pre-purchase consultation where we systematically go what we do differently, our team, how we operate, education, how to get their offer accepted at a higher level, what we're doing differently. That's really what needs to happen. And I know you do it, is systematically tell the client why you, and you're applying for the job, right? You are applying for the job. You want to tell them what's going on. And I am a little surprised that that's not a common thing in general. With most realtors, a lot of people just assume it, and then they go, "Oh, I'm going to pay you that." You're like, "No way." And some people are like, "Okay, I'll drop it." Like, well, then if you just drop it right away, then you weren't worth anything anyways. If you can't negotiate for your own commission, how are you going to negotiate for their house that's $700,000 or $2 million or So again, that's a whole nother conversation. But I think you're on the right track of pushing back a little bit, and you guys as agents have a ton of value, but you need to be valued. You have value, you need to be valuable. Not every agent's valuable. Oh, every lender is valuable, right?
Oh, I think, and you guys are seeing the slides too. You're seeing the paper cuts coming your way. So, I mean, and each one is unique. But I know this is going to sound crazy, but I have to make a living somehow. I mean, you'd never go into the grocery store and say, "Hey, I want this milk cheaper because I can," you would never do that. So, I know there's other agents you might speak with, and this may not even be in their vernacular. I don't know.
It's definitely a hot topic, and it's a way of how do we figure our value, and I love it. I'm super excited to talk with you. We could talk, keep talking for a long time. Wendy, I do appreciate you being on the No Excuse Pro podcast. I think this conversation was just awesome. I taken a ton of notes. I'm excited to go back and listen to it. Any last words of how to have no excuse mentality in this market right now?
I would go back to just keep your head down. There's a saying that I love. It's called mind your own business. It's like, keep your head down. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Mind your own business. And you guys, be yourself. Don't try to be anybody else but yourself. You guys know if I'm on social media, Kevin, you said you saw my stuff. Sometimes I'll wake up and get right out of bed. I don't care what I look like. Other days I'm manicured. I don't care. But if I hopefully can deliver help and information, like, oh, that's a cool idea. Being myself more than ever has been my superpower, I would say.
Yeah, that's what I love that. Mind your own business, be you. And that's what people want. Being real. And that's why these long form podcasts, I think, are important, because the short form snippets are fine for like little commercials. People want more information, more real information. Love them or hate them. Trump did a lot of long form this last year, and it was really beneficial because people could hear the just like long talks, and it's not all cut up, but change. So it's something that's important for people. People want to hear it. So again, thank you so much. I really appreciate you, Wendy. Hey everybody, thanks so much for listening to the No Excuse Pro podcast. We're helping you break through excuses and achieve your goals. We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks again for watching.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
And there you have it, folks. Another enlightening episode of the No Excuse Pro podcast is in the books. A heartfelt thank you to today's guests for sharing their wisdom, and to you, our valued listeners, for spending your time with us. If you're ready to ditch the excuses and level up, make sure to subscribe and find all our episodes at noexcusepropodcast.com. Don't forget, the only thing standing between you and your goals is the story you tell yourself. So no excuses accepted here. Take action and make it happen.